On the steps of the state capitol, raising fists and holding signs, these young people shouted for Stephon Clark.
We need justice in these streets.
Like their lives depended on it.
This is real life. He dead. He ain't coming back.
Because they know they do.
Stephon Clark!
And they marched.
Stephon Clark! Stephon Clark!
Straight through the heart of downtown Sacramento. Stopping traffic at just about every intersection. Kneeling down in front of cars with their hands up.
They gonna hear us for sure.
Making their way to Interstate 5, where they came face to face with CHP officers.
Bro, look at me in my eyes, bro. Do you see my pain, bro?
Where they stood for an hour and looked into the shielded faces of those officers suited up in riot gear who were blocking the freeway entrance. And they asked why Stephon Clark had to die. And then they moved again, coursing through nearly 30 city blocks over a period of 8 hours. At one point, descending on bicycle cops, backing them into a corner.
Stop! Go! This is what they want!
Then making their way from downtown to midtown and trying to get on Interstate 80.
We stepping up with Stephon Clark!
Now, for the record, the protesters were not able to make entrance onto I-5 or I-80 tonight.
Stephon Clark! 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 Stephon Clark!
This is Stephonte Clark, Stephon Clark's brother. These are speakers.
As you point this to our council, does this look like a gun?
Make them accountable for what they do! It's all right.
The community's reaction to Sacramento leaders is passionate, and their message, unwavering.
I'm asking you to stand with the voices of the people that you're hearing today. I'm asking you all of you, not one being exempt, to be the champion of change that Sacramento needs.
They want the Sacramento police officers who shot and killed Stephon Clark on March 18th to be held accountable. Speaker after speaker, demanding change, pleading for action.
You cannot be blue. You cannot be political. You cannot stand on the fence. You have to fall on the side of what is right.
Tuesday's Sacramento City Council meeting taken over by people of all ages and backgrounds who brought stories of their own struggles, offered solutions, and wanted their voices to be heard.
We expect you to leave this moment with a new lens on, a lens of understanding that we need enforcement that carries out and cares for the neighborhood that they are enforcing.
Mayor Darrell Steinberg, joined by city council members and Sacramento Police Chief Daniel Hahn, held a moment of silence in honor of Clark and offered words of encouragement.
We'll determine whether we divide and despair or whether we heal and hail justice and change. I am confident that together we can and will achieve the latter. Peace, justice, and change.
Before the nearly 700 people expected to speak could have their turn at the podium, the meeting was shut down 3 hours after it started as the protest outside became chaotic. And one person was arrested for assaulting a police officer, according to the Sac PD.
Why? Why'd you choke him out? Why? Look, why did you choke him out? Why was he choking out?
Because the meeting did end early, Mayor Steinberg did tweet that it will reconvene tomorrow at 1 p.m.
Right now, they're calling out Sacramento police, still protesting, as we have reported, for more than a week now, about what they say is the unjust killing of Stephon Clark in his grandmother's backyard. We started with them at the DA's office around 3 o'clock. It was a peaceful protest, lots of signs laid out there. And then there was a rumor that went through the crowd that the Reverend Al Sharpton was going to continue speaking to the people in Sacramento after his eulogy for Stephon Clark, and that he was going to go to the federal courthouse around 4 o'clock. So this group marched in that direction, eager to hear from him, eager to be there with him on what has been a very emotional day for people who were at the funeral, and then also for people who were taking the streets tonight. The Reverend Al did not materialize over at the federal courthouse, so just in the last 5-7 minutes, they decided to take their march, their protest down I Street the wrong way. We saw a lot of officers down by the I-5 on-ramp that was shut down last week, ready to block protesters if they, for any reason, went onto the highway. But they turned around and went in the other direction. Let's listen in.
Gather in front of all these cars. Line up. Quickly. They will live.
You can see what they're saying right now. Line up in front of these cars. Make these drivers, the normal business of a Thursday afternoon in Sacramento, make it uncomfortable for people. They'll live. They'll survive being uncomfortable during this protest, making the point that Stephon Clark did not survive what happened to him at the hands of police in the backyard of his grandmother's home. No word yet how long they intend to keep this protest up this evening, but we will be with them throughout the evening. We did have a visit from Stephon Clark, Stephon's brother, a little earlier today when they were in front of the courthouse. He actually encouraged this crowd to change their chant from Black Lives Matter to Sac Lives Matter and chant that. That happened for a while. He also asked people to not block streets, but this crowd has decided to go ahead and block traffic tonight as people are trying to get home again, trying to make their point that this young man should not have been shot at 20 times in his grandmother's backyard while only armed with a cell phone. Police say they were pursuing him as a vandalism or burglary suspect and that he was armed with a gun. That turned out not to be the case.